Hi tutors. I am making you a video today with two main goals in mind. I want to explain the process of progress monitoring, and I also want to orient you to the progress monitoring materials that you have so that you can be prepared and confident and ready to start progress monitoring your second week of tutoring. So by now you have either started tutoring or are about to start tutoring, and you know that the majority of your tutoring sessions are spent doing scripted, targeted activities with students. And those are called interventions, right? Those interventions have been specifically chosen based on data that you and or your colleagues have collected through assessments. And so what we've done is we've said, hey, we know that these literacy skills are really important for readers to master. So let's see if there's any students who could use some extra support in mastering them. And there are. And then we said, hey, we know some activities that are really effective in helping readers master these skills. So let's do them. And that's what we do. And it's great. And because kids are all unique individuals, they're not robots, there's no rule and no magic that says, okay, do this intervention for one time a day for 64 days and poof, mastery, right? So what we also have to do is monitor the progress that students are making. So we want to know, hey, this is working. It's time to move on to something else. Or maybe, hey, this isn't working as well as we anticipated. Let's make some adjustments, right? And so we monitor student progress using a practice called progress monitoring. And what you're going to be so thrilled about is that progress monitoring is going to look familiar to you. You don't have to learn a whole new thing like you've already done about 59 times since you started this work, all right? So what I want you to do first is when you're getting yourself ready to progress monitor is go back to your LMS course and quickly review that part about progress monitoring. So it is within the assessments course. There's just a little part of it that's about progress monitoring. All right. So after you go back through the progress monitoring section of the assessments course in your LMS, next, take a look at your progress monitoring materials. So you have two items. One is a binder that has all of your tutor materials in it. So this is your progress monitoring tutor binder, and a 5-section accordion folder that has all of your student materials in it. So this is your progress monitoring student folder. So let's look at your tutor folder first. You will open it up, and this first page has a really helpful tool in this assessment table right here. Now, you know that this table is about benchmarking and baselining, but it's super nifty that in this first column here, it lists the progress monitoring assessments that you're going to use for each grade in bold. So, kindergarten, test of letter sounds. First grade, only the test of nonsense words is bolded. And at the beginning of the year, that is the only progress monitoring assessment we're doing with first graders, okay? We are not doing the CBMR with first graders for progress monitoring at the beginning of the year. Second graders were CBMR, and third graders were doing CBMR, all right? Now, partway through the year, after the winter benchmark window, we're going to switch to following the bolded assessments in this last column here, but it's not a big deal because the only thing that changes is that first grade assessment when you'll be using the first grade CBMRs instead of the nonsense words. I will absolutely remind you of that several times before it happens, so do not worry about that right now. But this is just a nice thing if you're get stuck frozen and say, wait, what assessment am I doing with which student? Here you go, just the ones in bold. So you probably also have a recording form tucked in here. You can use that to record progress monitoring scores if you want. Or there's a place to record scores on each child's tutor log right here. So you can do that there. It says weekly It says weekly probe right there, so you can record scores in there. Doesn't matter where you record it as long as you do, because ultimately those scores are a part of the data that you'll enter into our CDMS each week. So the next page is your pronunciation guide right here, and then we hop right into letter sounds. And look, it's the script that you already know, but that you're still going to have out and read each time that you progress monitor, all right? Now, besides our script, what else do we need as tutors to complete these assessments? Oh yes, we need our scoring sheet. All right, now when we progress monitor, we're going to use a different probe or a different page like this each week. So you have 19 probes here for progress monitoring your kindergartners. And we don't want to mark these all up because you'll use them with all of your kindergartners. And then when you come back to tutor next year, again, you're going to use these same materials. So the first week that you progress monitor your kindergartners, you are going to go ahead and take this first probe out. And then you probably saw that you have a clear page protector here. It's even cut right on the side for you, so you can easily tuck that in right there. And now you are ready to just go ahead and score with your dry erase marker on there. All right. Then after you progress monitor all of your kindergartners and you're ready to the next week progress monitor them again, look at this. You just pull that out and flip it over. You'll see that at the top here, it had teacher form 1 there. On the back side is teacher form 2. So you can tuck that in there. And now you're all ready for week 2 of progress monitoring. And then you keep going. When you're done with that, what I would do is take this and tuck it in the back here. And then go get my week 3, tuck that in there, and leave it in there for the week to get all your kindergartners. Okay, I'm gonna put those back right now so that I don't mess that up, but that is everything that you need to progress monitor kindergartners, right? But what about the kiddos? What are the kids looking at this whole time? That's in your student folder here. So kindergarten student materials are in this first pocket. So you've got 5 pockets. They just go in the same order that your assessments are here, in grade order. Kindergarten stuff is in this first pocket right here. Now, I did mess up and I completely forgot to include 2 pages in your student materials that you need, and this is the first one. So you don't have this practice page in this pocket yet. So would you please go to your benchmark or your baseline student folders, because they have this in there, right? And just make a copy of this page and tuck it into this pocket, please. And thank you. And then you'll have it, right? And then the other thing that you do have is all of the kindergarten probes that students will look at as you're progress monitoring them. So mine are stapled together here. You can do that too if you want, as a way to make sure they stay organized and in order, because what you'll notice is that the first page here, it says student form 1 right there. That will match up with your teacher form 1 right here, okay? So those are going to, when you look at them, be exactly the same. And then that's the same for 2 and 2, and that goes on and on and on. All right? So that is everything that you need to progress monitor for kindergartners, and we went all over that. Now, the rest of the materials work exactly the same way. The other thing that I did say that I forgot 2 pages this is the other one that I forgot, that practice page. So will you take that from Nonsense Words from your benchmark or baseline folder, make a copy, tuck that in there. You've got all of your student probes here. Those are your first grade materials. You also have first grade probes for the CBMR that you'll remember you're not using until partway through the year. I'll tell you when to start using those. First graders, we're only progress monitoring Nonsense Words right now. Then you have your second grade probes for the CBMR and your third grade probes for the CBMR. And then it goes the same in here. So if you've got a first grader, you're going to find your test of nonsense words. That's right here. You're doing the same exact thing with these probes here, flipping through them in order. Then you've got your CBMR right here. Careful and remember that, like we said, the first grade ones are in here because we'll use those later this year. So just make sure you pay attention to the level at the top, because level 1 are first grade probes. So don't accidentally give those to a second grader. You'll notice that they won't match up anyway. But next you have all of the second grade ones. I don't have any idea why, but the second grade ones are not labeled as level 2. So whichever ones are not labeled, those are second grade. And then you'll see that you have level 3 next for the third grade ones. All right. And that is all of your progress monitoring materials. So the other part of progress monitoring that I didn't really touch on in this video much is that you will need to enter progress monitoring scores into our CDMS. That's a part of your data entry. And I am including a link to the RCDMS help guide video on how to do that. That'll walk you through that process there. So I'll put that in the email that this video comes with. So I just wanted to wrap this up with offering a few tips that I have heard from wise, wonderful tutors over the years. So the first one that I think is great is having a plan for Wednesday to be your progress monitoring day. Programmatically, I don't care when you progress monitor, but I need there to be a progress monitoring every week for all of the students on your caseload. And then when you exit students, that'll happen too. We'll talk about that later. But so every week, I want every student on your caseload to be progress monitored. If you plan to do that on Wednesdays, that works out real well, because if you have the beginning of the week off of school, you've still got Wednesday and Thursday and Friday to do it. If you have a student absent on Wednesday, you still have Thursday and Friday to do it. If you have a short week with the end of the week off, Wednesday still works. So it's a great tip to just plan for progress monitoring to be done on Wednesdays. And then you've got a couple of options if that doesn't work out. It doesn't matter during your tutoring session when you do it. So you're going to do it during your regular tutoring time. You're going to cut your intervention short by about 1.5 minutes or so. That's all, because it just takes a few seconds to get through those directions and that 1 minute timer. So it doesn't matter when during the session that you do it. You could give students a choice. Do you want to do it at the beginning or the end of our time together, or whatever works best for you? Do the probes in order just for the sake of organization, right? So it doesn't matter programmatically what order they go in, but like just for the sake of organization, and you don't redo any of them, just do all of those probes in order. And if a student is like absent all week or something, so you can't get a progress monitoring score that week, just skip that probe with them. So like I said, they don't actually have to go in order. Just stay on the same probe for sanity's sake, on the same probe each week, right? So if somebody misses the week 3 kindergarten probe, and then they're back the next week. Just use week 4 like everybody else is. So hope that makes sense. I sure appreciate you listening to me talk about progress monitoring for a long time. I hope it helped you clarify just what progress monitoring is and what materials you'll need for it, and has given you some ideas for just how to work through that. So I appreciate you, tutors, and I'm excited to have you get going with progress monitoring. Thanks.